Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Monday, 7th day of August, 15th day of Av, Tu B'Av. Let's explain to you why Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, is considered such a festive day on the Jewish calendar. You won't notice it too much. You'll only notice it in that we won't say Tachanun on the 15th of Av, and also Sunday afternoon preceding the 15th of Av, we won't say Tachanun at Mincha on Sunday afternoon, and that's because it's a festive day. Now I'm going to give you a couple of more reasons why it's a festive day. You know, originally when the Jews were in the desert, and when the Jews conquered the land of Israel, when they first got in, the Shavatim were not allowed to marry amongst each other, so that everybody from Shevet Reuven was supposed to marry Reuven's Shevet only, and same thing with Shimon, etc. And the reason for that was because they didn't want all of the properties that belong to one Shevet through marriage to then end up belonging to another Shevet. And years later, they finally permitted this, and they allowed people from the Shevet of, let's say, Reuven to marry into the Shevet of Yehuda, and that was a great celebration. And it happened on the 15th of Av. It's one of the reasons it's a festive day. Also, there was a very unfortunate time when the Shevet, the tribe of Binyamin, had been excommunicated from the rest of the tribes, and that's because of a horrible event that happened with some tribesmen of the Shevet of Binyamin, and it was called the disaster of Pilegesh Begiva. You can look it up. It's a horrific story that happened, and because of it, the tribe Binyamin had been excommunicated, and when the excommunication was lifted on the 15th of Av, that was one more reason to give a great celebration. Also, there was another unfortunate incident which was lifted on the 15th of Av, and that was that when the kingdom split after the time of King Shlomo, then there were two kingdoms afterwards, and unfortunately Yeravam ben Nevat did not allow any of the people from his kingdom to go to the Beis Hamikdash, to the temple, when it was the proper time to do that for the 3 holidays. And he had the roads blocked, and so that if you were from his area, you couldn't get down to the Beis Hamikdash in order to celebrate for the 3 great holidays. Well, finally, years later, in the time of Hosea ben Elah, the roads were reopened, and Jews from the north were allowed to come down to the place where the Beis Hamikdash was, and that was it happened on the 15th of Av, and so it was again a great celebration. 2 more to go, and they are that all throughout the summer, wood was chopped in order to be used for the fires on the altar, on the Mizbeach. And finally, on the 15th of Av, they stopped for the season, and they called it the breaking of axes because they stopped doing all their chopping, and they symbolically broke their axes. They, of course, were going to do it again next year, but because that was the time that they ended it, and there was more time to learn Torah and everything, and there were long nights to learn Torah, so it was a festive day, and it was celebrated Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av. Lastly, famously, the daughters of Israel would dance in the vineyards on these days, and people would gather and they would choose for themselves mates, and they would say, that young lady over there, they would tell them, don't look at beauty, don't look at the dancing, just look at a person who's fearing of heaven, and that's the only thing to look at. But nevertheless, it was a very great celebration of a day when shidduchim were happening, and people were choosing mates on that day. A great festive occasion again, and that's another reason why the 15th of Av was celebrated as a great holiday. Thank you for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.